Hi, welcome to yet another episode of the MT Agroecology Tales. My name is Thomas Malunda. Today we are back at the farm. MT Agroecology, as you can see, we are in the vegetable section, and far ahead there is our forest. Like I mentioned in the first episode, we have medicinal plants being grown as well as fruit trees. We want that when anybody comes on MT Agroeco Farm, they are able to access medicines from the plants and trees as well as fruits. Fruits give us vitamins. So that's what you see at the extreme end. But happy to be here again with the other episode. And today I'm being joined by a great man, a counsel for that matter, who is going to be talking to us about the law. Many of you watching me usually ignore these aspects of business. Like I mentioned in the subsequent episodes, with agroecology, we have to come up with aspects that complete the sustainability circle. And of course, economic viability is one of them. But you won't enjoy economic viability or achieve it if you're not compliant with the law. So that's why I've brought Consel Rogers here. He's going to greet you in a few minutes to come to talk to us about what we need to have at the back of our minds, what we gotta do to ensure that we are not on the wrong side of the law. But before we go into that, if you've not yet subscribed to our channel, I remind you and request you to do so that you don't miss out on great content like this one. So, Rogers, you're welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Rogers and I am very glad to be here. Today, I will talk about some of the aspects and some of the considerations as a person that wants to venture in agriculture that you ought to consider. And I'm going to start with the very first and the most important thing, which is land. And so, if you're an agriculturalist, the first thing that you need is land, unless you're going to do agriculture in the air, which is really hard.
Yeah.
You need land.
And that's for the guys who are planning on venturing into the production aspect of the agricultural value chain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in Uganda, land is one of those very, very sensitive topics that have to be talked about every other time. In Uganda, there are 4 ways of owning land. You can either own customary land, you can either own leasehold, it can be freehold or milo. Now, the tenure system that you consider before you buy land depends on the location of the land.
Yeah.
And that is very important because some areas will not offer certain tenure systems because they don't exist in that particular area. So let me explain one by one. Let's start with leasehold.
Yeah.
You've heard it said that people be saying that I have a lease on that land, I have a lease on that land. Leasehold is owning land, but with a duration. You own land for a particular number of years. Sometimes it could be 5 years, 10 years, 15, 30, 40, depending on the agreement.
Yeah, so that may not be appropriate for agroecology, because in agroecology we invest in the land. So you don't want to be there for 5 years and they're telling you, hey, move your trees and go.
Exactly. So that's leasehold. And the crux of leasehold is the agreement.
Yeah.
You cannot have a lease without a lease agreement. And even if you go formal and you get a certificate of title, it will have at the last page of that title, there will be the lease agreement. So yes, that is leasehold. The second is called milo.
Yeah.
Milo is very common in Buganda. And
Takalia Kabaka.
Yes. We are going to correct that in a few though.
Okay.
So we have private milo and a Takalia Kabaka.
Yeah.
Now, chances are high that if you have the certificate of title, it has private milo. Because there's long history behind it and it stems back from the Uganda agreement, which I will not venture into.
Yeah.
But the private milo is similar to freehold. Basically, private milo is that kind of milo that you own in perpetuity.
So it's Kabaka's land that you own in perpetuity.
It's basically land. It doesn't belong to the Kabaka, but it's within Uganda.
Okay.
Yes. So it was that land that was initially given to some of the henchmen. Should I call them the henchmen? There are some people that were given land during the 19 Uganda agreement that were not the Kabaka.
Yeah.
you have the Nuhumbogos, you have Sapolo Kagwas. Actually, where we are standing, this used to be Sapolo Kagwas land.
Yeah.
So it forms part of private Milo.
Yes.
So private Milo is that kind of Milo that can be owned by an individual forever and ever.
Yeah.
And it can be a good kind of tenure system to think about if you're to venture into agriculture.
Yeah.
And so you'll own it forever and ever. Then public Milo is the one that belongs to the Kabaka.
Okay.
The original certificate of title is in the names of Kabaka. I think Kabaka Mutesa.
Okay.
Now, the only way you can own a portion of that land is by having a lease. And that land is owned by Buganda Land Board.
Yeah.
So Buganda Land Board can simply give you a lease. And there are some areas in Uganda that have that particular kind of Milo land. For example, if you come to Rubaga, if you go to Namasuba, and some other areas. So if you go to that area, they will tell you, this land is for the Kabaka.
Yeah.
You can only get a lease or perhaps have a chibanda, which I'm going to talk about later.
Yeah.
So that's Milo land. Then there's freehold. Freehold is similar to private Milo, but it's also another tenure system. Basically, you're owning land forever and ever, and it is yours.
Yeah.
And you can do whatever you want with it. I'll talk about how to acquire that kind of tenure system.
Yeah, so basically the tenure systems that work for an agroecologist are the private Milo and freehold.
Yes, however, also customary land does.
Okay.
Now, customary land is a unique type of tenure system that is only available in certain parts of Uganda.
Yeah.
For example, you will not find customary land in Buganda, but you'll find it in northern Uganda, Moya, Karamoja, and maybe some parts of western Uganda.
Yeah.
But what does it mean? It means that you're owning land according to the customs of the area. It's called customary land purchasing. So if, for example, that is a chunk of land owned by a clan, that a clan. So for example, if you went to Noya, you might find a huge chunk of land of about maybe 50 acres that is owned by the village.
Yeah.
So that land is maintained and owned according to how the customs of that tribe dictate. And why am I saying it can make a good investment in agriculture? There are some people that want large-scale agriculture.
Yeah.
And if by any chance you're able to maybe convert that customary land, buy it from those people, and the elders sit down and give you a chunk of land, and then you transfer it, maybe you transfer it into your names, blah, blah, blah. You might get yourself a huge chunk of land cheaply.
Okay.
Yes. But like I said, it's not common.
Yeah.
It's just in a few areas. I've been to Noya before. I've seen people that grow mangoes on such pieces of land. Yes. So that's the tenure systems in Uganda that we have.
Okay, so I think, dear viewers, you can now tell. I don't know the land that you're sitting on. You could be starting up a farm on Kabaka's land. On public Milo. Please check. We don't want you to, make noise after a few years when you're being evicted by the Buganda Land Board, being told that your lease is done. Consel Rogers here is telling you that the appropriate tenure systems that you need to go for are private Milo, freehold, and customary if possible. But like I say, customary has some issues that may require an entire village or community to agree to pass on the land, which may be hard. So ones that you should consider: freehold, private Milo. So let's go to the process of acquisition of land.
Actually, before we talk about that, there is something. Have you heard about the called Chibanja?
Yes.
So it is an informal way of owning land, especially in Buganda.
Yeah.
And you find that some of the people that own that are occupying Kabaka's land have Chibanja. And I think the equivalent in English is porters.
Okay.
And they are recognized by the law somehow.
Yeah.
They cannot simply just be business. Though in Uganda, of course.
Are those the bona fide
Not really.
people? Okay.
Because bona fide in law is something that stems from the 1995 Constitution. There are some people that own land, and yes, let's say they had Bibanja on that land before they framed the 1995 Constitution, and by the time of framing the Constitution, they were there unchallenged. but the owner knew they existed,
Yeah.
never challenged them,
Yeah.
and they lived on that land for a particular number of years. Now, after some time, they are recognized as bona fide. And bona fide in Latin means good faith.
Yeah.
So the owner recognized them, saw them, and did nothing to evict them.
Yeah.
So they have a peculiar kind of right in the constitution. Yes. But the Ivanja I'm talking about is that kind of land that you find in some villages.
Yeah.
Let me start with the one that is on Kabaka's land. Some people that own small pieces of land on Kabaka's land have Bibanja. And Bibanja operates this way. I am an owner of a Chibanja, and Bibanja always have landlords. Okay? For Kabaka's land, the landlord is Buganda Land Board.
Yeah.
And the Kabaka himself.
Yeah.
But for other pieces of land that are not owned by Buganda Land Board, for example, private Milo, like this,
Yes.
the landlord could be the actual owner of the title, and he may or may not know about the presence of the Bibanja people. Now, how do these people operate? What they do is they come to your land and they start growing. They start doing activities from there.
Yeah.
And after some time, they sell.
Yes.
It's not okay.
They sell their rights to somebody else.
Exactly, that's the right one. They use the word interest. They sell their interest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an sort of like equitable interest.
Yeah.
It's not legal per se because it's not registered. It's informal. But they will sell and they based on agreements. They write an agreement.
Yeah.
And they actually draw a map. They draw a map. They draw the dimensions of the land.
Yeah.
And they put kumkono gweno senga gundi,
Yeah.
kumkono gweno koja gundi,
Yeah.
kumkono gweri.
Yeah.
And that kind of transaction is executed in the presence of the chairperson of the land, the chairperson, LC1 chairperson. They are always around, and they must put their stamp.
Yeah.
To prove that yes, I was there and I know about the transaction. So it's informal, but people do it.
Yeah.
It's not very safe because some of the evictions we have currently are because some people bought land, and I'm going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
They didn't take possession, they just bought a chunk of land and left it there. So some people that know how to use land came, started doing agriculture on it, and after some time sold to other people.
Yes.
Some of them were caretakers of the land,
Yeah.
sold because the landlord never came to the land.
Yeah.
So after some time, the landlord comes and finds probably people have constructed, people have like serious projects, and he says, you know what, let me just sell my interest as a landlord. And he sells to a more shrewd landlord who will just say, I'm the owner. So he comes and evicts everyone.
Yeah.
So it happens in Uganda.
Yeah.
Yes, but the Bibanja owners have some kind of rights that are informal, and they have equitable interests, and they are protected somehow by the law. But I wouldn't advise anyone to go for it.
Yeah.
Because of the benefits I'm going to talk about of having a title.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Dear viewers, I think you are following to this point. We've gone through the Tenua systems. We've spoken about the Bibanja. I know many of you corporate owners of land. You sit in your office and you make calls. Hey, are the tomatoes grown? Here, these vegetables are called sukuma wiki, collards. So probably you told the guys to plant the collards. Are they planted? You go there, they're not there. So you may be in town there making calls to Busi Island where you have your land. When you don't know that actually the Bibanja guys have already come on board. They've put up sukuma wiki, they put up carrots,
they have
put
forests.
Up onions.
They have forests
on your land. And you don't know. So
Yes.
Consel has told us that you need to
Take
possession of your land. Talking about taking possession, how can that be done?
So once you have acquired, once you have gone through the process, we're going to talk about of how, to acquire that certificate of title or have the interest in your names. How do you take possession? Number one, you could have a project on the land.
Yeah.
For example, you do some agricultural project, you plant something.
Yeah.
Number two, you fence off the land. So that people know that, oh, this land is actually taken over by someone.
Yeah.
Number three, you could have someone you trust. And I'm really regretting that I've told you this, but you could have someone you trust do something on that land. And if you trust them really well, they could utilize it for you in your absentia until you have the resources to come and use the land yourself.
Yeah.
So once people realize that the land is busy, then you take in possession.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's ways of taking possession.
Okay. And of course, by the time you're taking possession, you've already gotten the land. Like you've firstly known the Tenua system where the land is,
Yes.
purchase the land, getting the
The title.
title.
It requires a title.
Yeah,
Yes.
so after getting the title, that's when you possess land. We
Yes.
don't expect you to possess somebody else's land.
Unless you're Chibanja.
Yeah, unless you're Shivana person, and we've heard the disadvantages that come with that. You could be evicted by some landlord who may
Yes.
come about.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the next step. So having gone through that process, somebody is now thinking about starting a business.
Let me first hint slightly on how to make sure that the interest you're buying is legitimate.
Okay.
Now, all the tuner systems I've talked about have titles.
Okay.
There's a freehold title. There's a private. Sorry, there's a Milo title. There's a leasehold title, and there's a customary certificate of title. All of them are legal.
Yeah.
Even though most people get the Milo and leasehold, if they choose to go formal anyway, because it's also an informal lease.
All right.
Now, assuming you're buying a piece of land, you've visited it, you have liked it, and you want to proceed, you want to pay the money. What are some important steps that you should take before you actually pay your money?
Yeah.
Because you need to get value for your money.
Yeah.
And you don't want to appear on maybe TV crying, saying, you want to avoid that. How do you avoid that?
Yeah.
Number one, of course, this is something that you should involve your lawyer in, if you have a lawyer, because you do not know what to do. And what I'm going to give you is just a tip of the iceberg of what they do when they visit the land.
Yeah.
But so you get a lawyer, and what they do is they do two types of searches. They do a search in the Ministry of Lands if that land is titled.
Yeah.
Because the Ministry of Lands has a system. Now, every title that you have in your hands as an owner is a duplicate certificate of title.
Yeah.
The original is in the Ministry of Lands, a strong room. And so every information that appears on this duplicate certificate of title appears in the original.
Yeah.
Which means if you do the search, whatever appears here on the title they have given you should correlate with what the search report shows.
Yeah.
Now, once the information is matching, the acreage is okay, the names are okay,
Yeah.
the NIN numbers are there,
Yeah.
the title is not fake, and finally,
No encumbrances.
there are no encumbrances.
Yeah.
Oh, another very important aspect for people in agriculture. Every land has that part that determines how to use the land. If you have a certificate of title, at the very back,
Yeah.
there is that part that has how to use the title. Sorry, how to use the land.
Yeah.
And you don't want to buy a piece of land where they say it's supposed to be an industrial area. You don't want to do agriculture in Namamve. Okay?
Yeah.
So you need to be very cautious.
Yeah.
It's it's the Ministry of Planning that does that. And they know this land is for agriculture. This is a swamp. It's a gazetted swamp. It's a gazetted forest. It's this is a place where you can do housing. This is where you can do agriculture. So yes, leave that for your lawyer though. They know what to do.
Yeah.
So that is done, the search. Now there's a physical search that is done by your lawyer. And basically what he does is to ensure that the person selling you the land is the actual owner.
Yes.
Because it is possible for me to come and represent myself as the owner. And I tell you that I'm the owner of the land, pay me the money now. And then you pay thinking I'm the owner, yet the actual owner is somewhere in Kasese.
Yeah.
So you need to ensure, and this is very important because people have actually paid money to the wrong people, thinking that the landowners,
Right.
yet they are not.
Right.
So yes, that is the physical search. Their role is to make sure that the land actually exists, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, the land has no Bibanja holders.
Yes.
Or if they are there, you know about them.
Yes.
And number three, that everyone, at least the most important people, know that this land belongs to the person that is selling you the land.
Yeah.
Now, once that is like the tip of the iceberg, once that is certified, then I can give you the green light to proceed the transaction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for that, Consel. So, to you watching us, I know somebody's now holding a phone. He's just told somebody to sell them a land
Yeah.
in, I don't know, probably here where we are in Busi, on Busi Island. But you don't know that the land is owned by the person who's selling. So, like you've heard, please contact your lawyer. Get a lawyer. I don't know why we fear these people. We fear lawyers, we fear doctors, and we fear agriculturists.
Accountants. Agriculturalists.
Yeah, oh, okay, accountants.
They fear professional.
Why
I
do
don't
we
know
fear
why.
professional people? So
Yeah.
please contact the lawyer. Tell them that, hey, I would like to buy this piece of land, such that you save money. When I was starting in the I think first episode I said you don't have to lose money. So these are some of the things that you gotta do to ensure that you don't lose money, because at the end of the day you wanna make sure that all the ventures you are gonna do are going to bring back money to you. If you don't follow what we are saying, you're just gonna be throwing money into a pit. What the economists usually call the sunk cost philosophy or bias.